All right, thank you so much. The program this morning on ITV. Now, I told you that the university lecturers in Nigeria, they are on strike. And we've got Professor Julius Iyasele here, former ASUU chairman at UNIBEN, and also he's going to be telling us what is really going on. Because when you go through the daily this morning, you would have read a whole lot. Some say it's a warning strike, some say it's strike. Professor, you're welcome to this program this morning on ITV.
Thank you, Evans, for
now,
having
Prof,
me.
are you warning the government or you're on strike?
We're on strike.
You're on strike.
This time it's not warning strike because we went on we gave an ultimatum before Christmas, and then by last Monday we had a warning strike, a sit at home and all that before the weekend, and then by weekend we have taken the decision of a rollover strike, 4 weeks rollover strike. If by 4 weeks nothing happens, we roll over. So it's a new language this time.
Okay. Now, this strike now perhaps is kind of, people kind of find it difficult to understand what are you on strike for. If you go through the Daily Times this morning, to particular, you would have seen various reasons that has to do with making Isa Patami a professor, at Futo. Then there's the one that talks about JAM admitting on behalf of universities.
Yes.
Then we also have the one that talks about calling for 13 billion naira as take-off grants for universities. Then also we have the one that says that federal government is not sincere with all the agreements spanning from 2009.
Yeah.
So are you on strike for 2009 issues, or you're on strike for present issues now? Because some of the issues that we have now, they were not there in 2009, like the one that talks about Isa Patami's making me professor.
Isa Patami issue just is trending. It's a new thing. It's
So
not.
what is
it's
that
not
that
the
you're
reason
on
why
strike?
we're on strike.
What is that you're on strike for?
We're on strike because of government insensitivity in implementing the 2009 agreement. And then after the 2009, remember we had MOUs, and then MOU in 2013, and then MOA in 2020, and all that. And remember that there was this issue in 2009. We went into an agreement with government, and then by 2012 they were supposed to come back to a renegotiating table. They didn't until 2017. They agreed to come back to the negotiating table, and then by March 2021 that renegotiation had been concluded and every paper passed to government, and as we speak now they have not signed it. And that has to do with the salaries and wages of academic staff. Since 2009, these same persons have been on the same salary scale, as it were. And this is not anything to go by. And you find that they have to help to complicate issues. They have brought all different systems of payment. You have heard of the IPs.
And the UTAS.
Yes, the integrated payroll and personnel information system they brought, and which is alien to the university system, because with that, if I go on sabbatical to another federal university, of course I won't be paid there. And this is this is inimical to the growth of the university system, because sabbatical is a global thing, and then you can't bring lecturers from outside. As a student, I remember my university then could bring people from Germany, different countries of the world, to come talk to us over a short time and all that. But if you do that now, they won't get paid. You can't invest it. In fact, one of the problems we are facing now is that universities cannot employ. And meanwhile, what that precipitates is unnecessary workload that we are facing. Many of our people are falling and dying because of excess work that we are doing. And yet, the vice chancellors cannot employ. Okay. Because if you need to employ, you go back to Abuja to take permission.
Okay. Now, the federal government told you about the IPPRS.
Yes.
Then you guys opted for the UTAS, the UTAS.
Yes.
Now, are you aware that the UTAS you guys opted for did not go through, couldn't pass through?
That is wrong. That is not correct. That was an initial thing they said. they are asked that we should go, and since then, UTAS have been presented to NITDA, a government functionary that tests all, agency that tests all, maybe is it computer or whatever, and then since they have passed it.
Now, but the report is that out of 500, only about 200 could go through. So 500, 200, that's not a good one.
Of what now?
Of the tests that were conducted.
No, it's not correct. All agencies have tested UTAS, and it passed through all. And let me tell you, UTAS is the only thing that can accommodate, you know, the peculiarities of the university. So government knows, they know what they are doing. For instance, the government is saying you are no more entitled to sabbatical. Is that on? Is that anywhere? Even in other climes, we learn so many things from, we're colonized by Britain, and then of course now we are taken after the United States of America. All of this, the universities still have sabbatical system and all that. My friend came once and said he read in one school in Boston, and many of the Ivy League universities are around Boston, and most of the lecturers who taught him, the school he attended in Boston, were from all these Ivy League. That is, you know, a university is supposed to be universal. You disseminate information, knowledge, you know, left, right, and center. The idea is how to develop the world and all that. But here you have a country with principles very gory, stifling the dissemination of knowledge and all that. I don't know where we are going to. In fact, the present position of government is that they are not interested in education. That is the bottom line. And then that is why so many of us are beginning to agree that Boko Haram is taking a major seat in governance in this country. That is the truth, because Boko Haram says no to Western education. Is that what we are saying? And all that? So it's a very, very big problem.
Okay. Now, will it be right to say that this strike, excuse me, will it be right to say that this strike you are embarking on now is illegal? Because I was reading a piece from the Honorable Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, just this morning, and he's of the opinion that government is not even aware. I mean, if you have to go on strike, you should let your employer know that, look, the condition of service you are granting me are no more favorable.
You know, we don't make such mistakes. Number one is our strikes are never illegal. We don't, yes, illegal, because we don't terminate our strikes. They are suspended. So they have taken us before to international labor organization and all that, use all those laws to maybe discredit ASUU strike. We've gone to court all over that. And then the issue is that we never terminated our strike. What we do is that we suspend strike. And so how can you now say that the strike is illegal? But if I ask you ever, are you aware that ASUU was threatening that they were going to go on strike if government did not answer them? Well, are you aware? Because in December, like I said, ASUU gave an ultimatum. And when we were to hold our NEC meeting in University of Abuja in December, people were expecting that ASUU was going to go on strike. But we went there and that's okay. Why not still give these people some gap, some space to still think and all that and come to terms? But they didn't. Then we came back and we had a one-day sit at home on Monday last week. Everybody sat at home, no school and all that. Still a kind of warning to government that look at what we are going to do and all that. Went around all the media, all the zone of ASUU. We went around all the universities mobilizing. And eventually, did you hear any statement from anybody in government? Whether the Chris Ngige himself, the Minister Ngige, or the President of the country, or their agents, or even surrogates. Let's say that. Nobody came on air to advise or say anything, as if those are, let them be ranting there and all that. But in fact, what we are saying now is that let them even close down all the universities, and then start new one. Let's see what happens.
Professor, don't you think at times your own posture perhaps is complicating the whole issue for government.
How?
Because just like what we talked about a while ago, all I know, ASUU has been on government's neck over the 2009 agreement and all that.
Yes.
But we are finding recent developments now. You know, we talked about the Sapatamis issue. We talked about JAMB admitting for universities, and we also talked about issues that borders on new schools springing up without federal government giving money for funding them.
Excuse
now,
me.
If you put all this,
let me analyze each of.
You are complicating the whole issue.
Why are we complicating? We are there as watchdogs. ASUU, we are there to watch, in fact, watch the development of education in the country. What are we supposed to be sitting there? In fact, as a trade union organization, we are not supposed to stop even at the university. We are interested in the state of the nation, what happens in this country, because we know that a larger population of persons in this country cannot speak up. So we are there for the people. We are interested in what happens in this country. When they were going to increase pork price, early February, we went out before then, used so many organizations to threaten to stop them. But however, we know now they are trying to bring in this increment through the back door and all that. But we are watching them, because somebody told me yesterday at Abuja, somebody bought fuel for 550 naira. Even you're around here now, somebody is mentioning that even 1,000 in Abuja. Can you? And then at the end of the day, they will say, okay, now that people are able to buy fuel at 1,000 and all that, why won't you take the 340 something which they threatened they were going to increase it to in February? And then we just don't think we are watchdog. Patami's issue. Patami works somewhere. You can't be a professor if you are not a lecturer. So how can you now go and buy up a position in Futo and then think that ASUU will keep quiet? There's a procedure for all of this. And Nigerians, we must maintain the procedure. We must insist that the excellency of promotion in Nigerian system remains. Okay, you talked about the other one. Let me look at it. Let's look at the proliferation of state universities. The governors are now using state universities as constituency projects. How can you go when you have not been able to fund the one that is existing in the state? You now go to now start another one. Unfortunately, for instance, it's not our governor here that has started the Yamo. But however, look at what the problem in Ambrosali University. Few days ago, has the governor not sacked a vice chancellor? Can you imagine that? These are incursions into the university, eroding autonomy. Is it right?
Let us not join issues here. The issue
it's okay. I'm only illustrating and all that.
Yeah, Professor Sadullah was to be there for a purpose, for a meantime, and he completed the time and he had to stop. And
that is not what we have learned.
Anyway,
is vice chancellor now? Are they military administrators that you can take and go anywhere, anytime? That's not what we know of vice chancellors.
Anyway, let's look at the issue that happened in Futu, because some persons are of the opinion that, hey, if you guys are not okay with that, I mean, you should, within your internal mechanism, you should call the authority there to order.
Yes.
Rather than try to do a face-off with the federal government.
It's not face-off. We are not. It's not because of that we are going on strike.
What is
we have always simply told our members not to recognize, accept that position. Recognize Pantami as a professor, and then accept that position from Futo. And we have said that we are also going to sanction all our members who were involved in the process of making Pantami, who is not a professor. Is he an associate lecturer, professor? Has he attained that? Was he a senior lecturer at all? So you see, let's look at all this. Yeah, we have procedure in the university. If you are not teaching, you can't be a professor. Professors are those who are lecturing. So how can you not become a professor one day?
Okay.
So those are the issues.
Okay. NAS this morning, that's the National Association of Nigerian Students. This morning is on the media, and they are saying that they may go on the streets any moment from now. I don't know if that bothers you.
They go on the street.
To protest your strike.
You can't stop anybody from protesting. Do you understand? if there are issues to protest again, in fact, our strike is a protest. We are protesting against government. We are protesting against our welfare. The salaries are supposed to be compensation for work done. Are we compensated with what they are giving to us? In fact, I heard on the media yesterday somebody was saying that what else with a government that is paying salary, what else do you want such government to do? Pay which salary? What salary? What salary? You see, the problem here is, inequality in payment, in salaries, is the major problem in this country. Inequality. If I now hear that the number 2 in government, because we are not saying we end Buhari's salary as president, because that was not how it was in the 60s. But after the Attorney General of the Federation, the next person is a professor. Statutory.
Yes. Is this something that you just change all of a sudden?
It's not statutory, because which means they torpedo the statutory position. Because I was trying to tell you what the statutory position is. The statutory position is that in the earlier, you have, after the president, you have the Attorney General. After the Attorney General, you have a professor. Any salary. That is the way it is. But right now, go to MD or the thereabouts, and then he earns 10 times more than what you earn. What a shame is that. How can you think? You see, information flows vertically and horizontally. Then you are standing maybe even before students in Python classes who earn 10 times your salary, and then how can they listen to you? All they want to do is take the degree because it enhances their position wherever they work. Not even to listen to you and others. They're not learning by others. So we expect a rationalization of salaries in this country. If I know that as a professor, having risen through the rank, that I'm going to earn a salary commensurate with what the work I'm putting in, or in the country, the energy level in this country will be down if we rationalize all of this. Look at the gory state of the university. It's shameful now when a lecturer is resigning from the university now. Shamefully he leaves, whether dead or alive. But in other systems, if you find out, in other MDAs, let's look at the military for instance. When somebody is retired from the military, they are pulling out, the paraphernalia that follows that. It's a celebration. I hope you know. If somebody is retiring from as a legal luminary or whatever, now from Ministry of Justice, you see the way they are headed out of employment and all that. People are dying and shamefully kicked out of their accommodation even on campus because they don't even have anywhere to go to, no home. You have professor retiring without a house to park into and all that. People are forced out of their quarters so that others can access. Yeah. That is what we are seeing.
Okay, Prof, let's see how the whole issue is going to be handled. So what is the status quo now? Are you talking with governments? Because you are saying that it's a 4 weeks, 1 month warning strike. That's the way some of you are putting that it's just a warning strike. So are you people talking with
We are not averse to any meeting. If they call us, we will meet them. But however, a document exists about the race negotiated document is there. It's just for government, take up your biro and sign and implement. It's there. The UTAS that we talked about has been tested. Is it? I don't understand. You don't want to sign UTAS because of what? UTAS does not even have anything to do with increment in salary. All that is being there is that the peculiarities of the university allow vice chancellors to get staff when there are critical needs of persons special.
But you understand in the areas for some irregularities, as in
you say
as it may make room for some irregularities.
How?
Having more than
IPs, the Auditor General of the Federation came up with a report of the humongous crime, corruption that attends IPs. That you understand that scheme. We are aware. It is in our papers. It is in the public domain. So how can you now continue with IPs, whereas we are written another? Let me ask you: is it right that Nigerian government should domicile information about our workforce in another country? Because IPs was developed and is housed by another country, not Nigeria. Whereas the Nigeria...
Don't you think that's on international standard? What is expected globally?
No, it's the contractors that did it. That is why they were paying. If they are able to enroll any person in IPs, they pay them $15. It's a contractor that owns that payment platform. It's not a global thing.
Anyway,
otherwise, if it's global, then they would have drawn it that you can go on sabbatical. The lecturer can go on, because all over in the world, lecturers go on sabbatical and all that. But IPs doesn't have that. And so because of some of those peculiarities, that is why we develop UTAS. Why is it that government cannot implement UTAS and all that?
Anyway, Professor, some of the issues you mentioned here, they are subject to investigation, and we'll keep his discussions ongoing. Hopefully, we should be able to get somebody from government so that he can react to some of the issues here that Professor just talked about. And we pray that after the 4 weeks, you go back to work, you go back to classes, so that our students, because I was listening to some students yesterday that said they ought to graduate in April. With this development now, they don't know whether that graduation is still going to be feasible.
I have 2 daughters in Uniben. Do you understand? I cannot afford many of them, because in fact, they are forcing us to go on strikes so that their private universities will thrive. That is the essence. I'm telling you, they are happy. That's why they didn't discuss with us, in spite of the threats that we're going on strike and all that. Because they want us to close down. It's even admission time. Close down so that parents will take their ward and children to the private university. For that, those who can afford that. But we are here for the downtrodden masses.
Anyway, Professor, I'll say thank you for finding time to come. Like we said, we hope that the whole issues will be brought under control in no distant time, so that Professor can go back to work. Prof, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, the program is still this morning on ITV on Independent Television, Benin City, South Nigeria. You just hold on for more segments.